Hey guys, what's up? So in this video, we're going to be looking at BeautifulSoup, and I've also done another video for Python requests, but we're going to be using kind of both of them. So if you wanted to check out learning Python requests in one video, essentially though, just a disclaimer, this is a new type of tutorial series that I'm kind of doing here, and it's not even really a tutorial series in the sense that I'm not going to make one video to install and one video to name a variable and one video to read a web page. I think that approach is rather bullshit sometimes. And you know what? There's tons of tutorials that do a great job doing that, and I don't really wish to replicate that, to be honest. So I'm just doing what I do. And just a quick background is that I am a senior programmer. I typically deal with C# and JavaScript, but I've been a Python developer since approximately '09. But Python for me is a project hobby type of thing. I had never done Python in a production capacity, like with large development teams and things like that. So there are certain things that I'm sure I do with Python that is not like the Pythonic way. But that's okay. I mean, I think I come up, I bring enough experience from C# and other, large enterprise development platforms that I think that I can make up for it. But essentially, I don't have any familiarity with BeautifulSoup. I haven't used it in literally 4 years. Yeah, about 4 years probably. Maybe a little bit less. I don't remember. But the point is I haven't used it in a long time. So this is just going to be kind of, a programmer's point of view of working through the library. So all that said, let's go ahead and jump into this. I have my C directory with my projects folder. And inside this projects folder, I'm going to put learning BeautifulSoup and Python requests. Alright, so here's this learning BeautifulSoup and Python request. I'm going to go into the folder, and with Windows I can type cmd, and it's going to pull up a command prompt here. So we're going to do our virtual environment. Virtual environment is so that we can isolate our, oh fuck me, I didn't mean to do that. Virtual environment, env is the name of the environment, and then I'm going to do no site packages. So what this is going to do is isolate our Python environment. I talked about this ad nauseum, seriously, with all the other videos that I do. But if you don't know what virtual environment is, you really should start using it. It's one of those things, though, when I was first getting started that I was like, well, why the F am I going to do that? Why am I going to make my life more difficult by using this tool? But really, you're making your life more difficult by not using it. But newbies out there, they're going to avoid it, and they're not going to use it, and they're not going, and it's going to end up biting them. But do whatever you want, whether you want to install all this in a virtual environment, or if you just want to install it all globally, meaning without a virtual environment. It's up to you. But now that we have the environment set up here, we can go ahead and cd into it, and then I'm going to take a look at the scripts directory. So let's cd into that if my dumbass could spell it right. And then we're going to say activate. And if you're on a Linux environment, you should say source activate. But if you're in your virtual environment, if everything went well, you'll see in parentheses the env or whatever you chose to name your virtual environment. So now that we have that here, I can go ahead and say pip install. Hell, I don't even know how to install BeautifulSoup. So what does it say here? So it says pip install BeautifulSoup 4. So hopefully this works. Current release. Alright, so I mean, I'm assuming we want the current release. It looks like that website, by the way, was created in like 1995. Alright, pip install BeautifulSoup 4. Alright, so it looks like everything went well. And now we're also going to need to install Python requests. So we're going to say pip install requests. Make sure you have the extra S on the requests. And this puts them both into our virtual environment. I'm going to close this solution. You need some sort of a text editor in order to run your project. And for me, I'm going to go ahead and put my project. I'm going to use Visual Studio. You guys don't have to use Visual Studio, but this allows me to run my projects a little bit easier. So if I say browse, I can set up a new Python project by selecting this folder. We'll call this Learning BeautifulSoup with and Python requests. It's a long ass name, but whatever. So if I say next, it'll auto detect the virtual environment. So that's what's nice about this, is that like over here on my environment, if I look inside my environment, you can see that it has both requests and BeautifulSoup because we installed both of them. I know it's a little bit hard to see on the Solution Explorer over there on the right hand side, but yeah, that's pretty much all I can do with that right now. I can't make that any bigger, but the source code, when you guys see me type, I'll make it a little bit bigger. All right, so next thing, we need to go ahead and see if we can run an example here. I just want to see if this thing's even running here. So let's take a look. So 4.4 appears to be the... See, I don't want to do this. What I want to do, instead of actually using all this garbage, I want to actually... number one, let's go ahead and see if we can import BeautifulSoup. That's the first thing you want to always do whenever you're dealing with a new project. So let's create a Python file over here. So I'm going to add a new Python file. And once again, you guys do not have to use Visual Studio. You can use whatever you like to use for working with Python. So we're going to say from BS4 import BeautifulSoup. And also, since I'm using Visual Studio, I need to set the start as the start file, because there's no start, there's no void main function like there is in C or C++ or Java or C#. So if I run this now, this is going to use our Python. So there was no error. That means everything was installed fine. So that's good. So now let's go ahead and import requests. Import requests. All right, there we go. And we're going to go ahead and request. That should be all right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and use request. We'll say HTML equals request dot get. Sorry about my phone. And we're going to go to a website that I own. We'll do HTTPS. I'm doing HTTPS because I don't want a redirect to occur, because I have it set up so that it always redirects. If you go to request the page without HTTPS, it'll redirect you to the HTTPS version. All right, so now that we have the source code, let's go ahead and just print HTML and make sure that we're getting a 200, because this gets returned as a request class, and by printing HTML, it'll actually give us the HTTP status code of like 200. There it goes, 200. Let me make this a little bit bigger. 200 or like 500 server error, 404 is page not found. You guys know what I'm talking about if you've ever done any HTTP work. If I wanted to get the actual text, I could say that. But this is actually going to throw a, we need to encode this joker. Let me do that real quick. So, request encoding. There's some sort of encoding. I don't remember the syntax of it. And once again, this is not a scripted tutorial. This is the raw and uncut version, because this is just what I do. And this is what every programmer does, by the way. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They just figure it out. So here is HTML, and we're going to replace this to HTML. We're going to, by using this ISO standard, in fact, I'll show you guys here before we even do this. So I'm just doing a comment here, and I'm going to say encode UTF-8. Now, by default, request should be encoding to UTF-8 automatically, but there's a bug or something occurs where it doesn't do that with my website because of weird characters. But here you can see the content, right? It looks like shit because it's all over, it's all mashed. But if I go ahead and I say encode it to this ISO standard and get rid of this encoding and just print the text, then you can see that the presentation of it is much prettier. So you see how it's much prettier. The why of that, I don't know. It's based on this standard. So you guys, if you're interested, you can look that up, but I'm not interested enough to stop what I'm doing right now to look that up. All right, let's continue down this path here. So we want to go ahead and now that we have the HTML, let's go ahead and make this soup thing. So we'll say HTML parser, since that's what we're dealing with. So I can go ahead and paste this right here. I want to do it though after my encoding, so that way I can say HTML, and this will be encoded with this ISO standard into more HTML friendly type stuff. All right, so now that we've done that, we can close this browser. So now if I look down here, we can just go ahead and print soup prettify if we want to try that. Let's go ahead and see. I'm not sure that that's going to do too much, but let's take a look. I haven't used BeautifulSoup in so long. But prettify is supposed to, like, I have no idea, actually. I have no idea. Oh, okay, so it says type of response. Okay, so the reason why is because HTML, guys, is if we said, you know what, let me go ahead and comment this out. Another good thing is I can just press that and comment it out. But if you want to say, let me just show you guys. I want to show you the why of some of this stuff. So if I print the type of HTML to see, okay, what is it returning? Because obviously this is expecting an HTML string and it got something else. So let's take a look here. I need to restart this. So if I press play and I look into this, you can see that I get this class request models response. So if you watch my my Python request learning it in 30 minutes video, you know that that is the type that is being returned by Python request. So if I wanted to actually get this to work right, let's, you know what, god damn it. Alright, so I'm going to uncomment this. Oh, where's my uncommenter? There it is. Alright, so I'm going to uncomment that, and then I want to do .text. That way it gets the HTML string that it's looking for. Okay, now I'm getting ready to cuss. Okay, character map encoding. So it's running into this encoding bullshit error. So, you know what? Alright, you little bastard. Alright, so we're just going to do this the hard way for right now. There might be a better way, but I'm just going to go ahead and encode this thing to UTF-8. I'm going to encode it to UTF-8. For right now, let's just comment that out. Let's see if we can get this working here. My website has something screwy there with the characters. Okay, so it's still got a fucking encoding error. Damn it. Alright, so I guess what I'm getting confused at with BeautifulSoup is I thought, okay, you're going to take whatever the encoding is, but what it's doing is it's doing its own encoding. So basically we could do this until we're blue in the face and it's not going to matter. We really need to encode this part here. So if we said encode UTF-8, and by the way, some people capitalize the UTF-8. I'm not sure that it really matters, but let's go ahead and try this here, because obviously it's ignoring whatever sort of encoding we got going on before that, and it's just looking at the straight characters. Alright, so now this works, and this is supposedly prettified. It's kind of ugly. You can see it adds new line characters and stuff like that. But the reason why this is pretty is because if we went to like print something like this, or to write it to an out file, let's go ahead and do that real quick. We'll say out file equals open, and then I'm going to say projects, learning, YouTube. That is way too long of a name, dude. Oh my god. What I'm doing is I'm adding a text file here that we're going to write to. And then we'll just say outfile.write. I can even close it too. Outfile.close, is that right? I think it's closed. I don't remember. In Python, you shouldn't have to explicitly close it. I don't think, anyway. I haven't done that in a while. It looks like I did it wrong. Alright, so it says that there is no directory, so obviously I printed the directory wrong. Damn it. Learning BeautifulSoup in Python request. Okay, it says write arguments must be string and not bytes. Okay. Let's try to stop the encoding, since we may not have to encode it like that, since alright, motherfucker. God damn it. Alright, so now I'm just kind of guessing. So if I just encast this entire thing to a friggin' string, why don't you write? Why don't you work? Just work, man. Just work. Alright, it seems to work there. Alright, that seems rather hackish, but whatever. So here's our test file. And this is supposedly prettified. It looks terrible. Looks absolutely terrible. But let's move on, because this is garbage. Instead of all this, let's go ahead and we'll get rid of that. Now let's go ahead and we want to keep all this out file stuff though, because we're going to be writing things out to test to kind of see what we're able to find. But let's go ahead and do something like print out file that writes soup dot we'll say dot title. So this should print the title of the page, which is something like hipster code home, I believe. Must be a string and not a tag. Okay, so if I wanted to get the actual string, then I guess I need to say name. Soup.title.name. That doesn't sound right. That's going to return the title tag, I would think, which seems pretty obvious. Yeah, so it returns title because it's like, hey, the name of the tag is title, but that's not very useful. So if I wanted to actually get the value, I'd have to say string, which is rather weird, actually. I haven't used BeautifulSoup in so long. You would think it would say text or inner HTML or something. But so here, hipster code home. So there we go. All right, let's go ahead and let's get all the anchors on the page. So if I wanted to get all the A's, then we could say for link and soup.find all, and I pass in A, and this is going to go through the list. So we could say instead of, let's go ahead and see, we're going to go ahead and define our out file, and what we're going to do here, so that'll create the new out file for every time we run it. And then now we want to go ahead and say out file. You know, I could just end up, you know, for right now we're not going to worry about writing the out file. Let's go ahead and just print the link first, just to see what we can find. So we'll say link dot, was it string maybe? Would it be string? Let's just print the whole anchor tag if we can then first. We'll just print link first. Let's print link. So this is going to reach out. It's going to actually, so it prints off all the actual links within the page. So you notice a lot of this stuff is like, oh man, it's got A's that have all these like content ripped out. So like, what if we just wanted all the hrefs? Then what we can do is we can say link.get, and then we can pass in the href. So this will only return actual links to other pages instead of all the links, which is a little bit more helpful if you're going to build like a scraper that's going to grab all the links on a page and start following. This is how you would start here. Now, one of the things you're going to notice though is that most websites have relative spaces. So it's relative to where they are within the application. So they're not fully drawn out HTML pages. Like here, this obviously goes to Twitter, but all these other ones, these will go to hipstercode.com, and the website doesn't have to explicitly state HTTP blah 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 hipstercode.com. So the question is like, how do you work your way around that? It's going to be difficult because then you also have things like this page top. This page top is a link that doesn't really go anywhere. So you have to build a scraper then that's smart enough to know, okay, this page appears to be within this website. This page is definitely an external website because it's got the HTTP or HTTPS listed in it and all this stuff. So yeah, that's some of the challenges that you get into whenever you start like doing scraping and stuff like that. All right, so let's move to a different example. We're going to go ahead and we're going to look at a Wikipedia page just as a simple example of something that might be able to help out a little bit. So if this has a little bit more data that we can actually grab. So here's this band Bayside from Queens. I actually like them. Going back to like their earliest stuff, like it was really good. Like some of their later stuff is not as good as their newer stuff. I mean, but their newer stuff when they were more punkish, man, I love that band. But anyway, so like here's some of this information. So if I was going to go ahead and like look at some of this stuff, we need to then find something by like ID. Like say I needed to get their origin, and like here it is, right? So it's this TD or TR. Like how would I go about this? I mean, first I would go. My phone is fucking killing me. Oh my god. I don't know how many times my phone has been heard in these videos in the last couple of days. It's ridiculous. But here is so here's this table. There's still no ID. So I'm looking for something. Okay, well, so basically maybe the origin. So we could say, you know what, TH, right? So we know TH with the value origin. See, one of the things that I think that that Beautiful Soup falls short on is that it doesn't support XPath. So without XPath, life becomes so much more difficult. You end up resorting to like regular expressions, which are just a terrible thing. They get the job done, but just terrible to work with in many cases. Some people really like them, but that's because they're twisted and evil people. I used to like them, but I don't anymore. So we're going to import RE, which is short for regular expression, because what you can do is you can say soup dot, in fact, we'll just say tag equals soup dot find, and then we could say text equals re dot compile, and we just pass in a regular expression. So we're going to look for origin. Okay. Let's go ahead and see if tag actually comes back with anything. I'll go ahead and place a breakpoint here. So if I look at tag is a none, so it's null. So I couldn't find anything there. That's not cool. Is origin capitalized? Yeah, it is capitalized. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm a dumbass. You guys should have told me. Why didn't I change the URL to the right page? You guys can't do me like that, man. It's embarrassing. Alright, let's try this again. I want to see if it even finds it. This is it's a very fragile way of finding something. But here you can see that the tag was actually found, which is cool. You may want to give it a little bit more control, though. What we could do is we can say, you know what, find me the TD. I think it's a TD, right? When we look at this, no, it's actually a TH. So what we want to say is we want to say, find me the TH with the text that matches origin. Okay. So let's hopefully see if we get the same result. I didn't place a breakpoint. But you can see that it finds the entire thing, TH row origin. Okay, so that's pretty good. Alright, so now that we've done that, let's go ahead and look at this page. So we know that when we're here, we need to go up, because TD is TH's brother. It's not its child or anything like that. So we need to go up to its parent. We need to say TH parent, and then go to its next child, TD. So we're going to say tag equals dot parent. I think it's parent. So it looks like if I go to my parents and I say I go to the contents. Contents is the name for children, which they should just call it children, you would think, but they don't. So it's going to be a list of children. So really, it should be these two elements, TH and TD. But let's go ahead and take a look. So we said dot parent dot content. So we're going to print tag, which should be a list. Yep, so it's a list. See how it's a Python list here? So just like I said, so now if it's a list of children, then we know that the second child is the data that we need. So if I said contents.1, because remember Python and most programming languages start counting at 0, so do computers. So if we look at this, now we get origin. Why? That's not cool. Does children start counting at mother effing 1? Why would that be? Hold on a second. Let's look at contents again. Because I would think origin would be child 0. So, oh, because look, the first element is a new line. Oh, that's some garbage. That's not cool. Yeah, that's not cool at all, dude. Not cool. Damn. So let's go ahead and try to do something here. With this, we want to say .strip for this HTML.text. I'm hoping that we'll get rid of all the new lines, because that's not cool that it's returning a new line as, yep, still doing it, you bastard. Oh, god damn it. Oh, what a bastard. So, I mean, I'd rather not resort to some hackish bullshit like HTML.text equals HTML.text.replace new line with nothing. That seems fucking hackish as hell. Yeah, it's not going to work anyway. So basically that's not going to work, and that's not cool, so we'll just return that. But I mean this thing's going to fall short, unfortunately. If we wanted to then get the right content, I could say 2, and that's going to return all the anchor text. Or it returns nothing because that's also a new line. This is obviously not very efficient at all. You have to be able to strip the new lines from the source code, or it's just not going to work. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at this R. Let's try the R strip method, which is rather nasty. At least I feel like it's just nasty to do this, but let's see what we get when we print contents now. So yeah, unfortunately this is being a piece of shit. So since soup is going to ignore all that, let's go ahead and say soup equals soup dot R strip new line. Let's see if we get the same result. So I'm sure you guys get the point from here, but I mean, with the new line characters, that kind of sucks. I'm sure that there's a way to obviously get some of that stuff out of there, but without the support of XPath, XPath is honestly like an imperative thing. If you look at Google Chrome, like XPath is included, and if you use Selenium or something like that, then XPaths are supported. So it's absolutely imperative if you're going to do any sort of serious scraping operation or anything like that. You really need to have a support for XPath, in my opinion. So I mean, for me personally, I probably wouldn't move forward with BeautifulSoup just myself, but not saying that it's not a great project for maybe little things here and there, but it definitely it wouldn't suit the type of needs that I think for a lot of people to be able to really crunch a lot of data. But that's just one person's opinion, so take that with a grain of salt. All right, guys, but I'm gonna go ahead and kill this this video here, and let me know what you think, and let me know if I should do any more videos like related to this or trying to expand upon it. But I don't want to start getting into some hackish nonsense without having to do research first. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Bye.